Hey guys, welcome to another video. So today, I'm basically going to be going over what you can expect if you're a newer player. Late game, probably pretty much late game. The gear I have is not quite perfect, but what you would expect for your typical late game player, I would imagine. So usually people just start out asking who can dual wield, and only the rogue and the Demetrius can. So you've got the rogue who can attack one frame faster, which that's fast attack. That's just standard what it looks like. That's pretty good. Um, she doesn't have a bow. The mattress has a bow. Physical damage usually is better to have than some type of elemental damage, at least in multiplayer. But it's a little besides the point. He has more HP. She has less HP. She can use Golem to tank. He can't use Golem to tank. But those are kind of small things. Maybe the bow is different, but you can decide how you find my magic damage later. Because bows tend to be pretty powerful, but he doesn't have access to the last 3 tiers of bows, I think. So he won't be like other gladiator classes if you played them. So for the build, we went with standard melee resistance. Seems to just be a safe choice and pretty good value for the perk points. Then Slayer, because we went for a crit build. I went with armor class because rogue has I think the lowest chance to be hit, the minimum chance. So if you have like maximum armor class in the game, you'll have the lowest chance to be hit of all the classes, which is good. But it's not like super low in melee. I think it's like 14% as opposed to a gladiator's like 20 or 18%. But just a small detail to keep in mind. Crit chance. This was a real deal breaker here. I thought at the beginning I was going to go for this, even though my beast damage seemed fine because, of course, you can dual wield, you can use sharps and get the bonus damage against beasts. And I decided that honestly it's just not even necessary. You do so much damage, it's just insane and not really needed. And also Ironclad, I took this just so I could have a little bit more freedom in the gear that I wore, and I wasn't so locked down to having the all epic plate, negative 25 plate, negative 20 DFE helm. It can really suck to be trapped in a sense because you need your chest and your helm to probably have some DFE or you're going to be lacking. So you have to cover it in other ways. Even though the perk value is pretty bad for DFE. And I guess the only regret I really have now that I am level 50 is chance to hit with spells, I think is 89% if you were to max this and have your base magic. So you could obviously improve this with, gear that gives you plus magic, but I found that it's actually fairly rare. At least with the uniques, the unique helms, the unique chest plates did not have it. Or the good ones that I wanted to use didn't have it. So I probably would have taken one out of maybe the Dodger or the DFE perks in order to get this up to max. So my range game is going to be a little slow, and I guess that's the other main thing. If you want to play, the Demetrius and have full access to all your perks and what they might do, you'll probably have to accept that you're either going to suck at killing range with this class or you're going to invest 5 points into Master Caster. And that's about all there is to it. Or you've got to sacrifice a stat that gives you plus, 32 to magic, which you could get on a ring or something, but at the same time, it's like, a suffix on a ring. It doesn't seem like a big deal, but I mean, fast attack, 20% of 200, like, they're all good stats. Even HP. Even if you just went flat, like, vitality, still like 72 vitality you could get, or HP. So I thought, alright, well, actions speak louder than words, can give you all the theory in the world, but most people just want to see what they can do. So I thought, okay, start with Ubers, then probably do level 23 and 24, just because that's pretty standard. You want to know how you can do in the latest parts of the game. And this class, any type of life-stealing class, will be better than a tank, well, not a tank class, but maybe a range class in some of these situations, but that's kind of beside the point. For gear, we have fairly standard stuff, just high damage. Now, these aren't perfect, like I said, but they're alright. Mana Steel I found is actually quite helpful. This is obviously one of the weaker points. Just kind of like a throwaway. Like, I didn't really know exactly what I needed. I wanted Resist All, but it's the only thing I could pair with it, really. excellent armor. Low rolls on this, but it's on the highest base, so get what you can get. Just standard stuff otherwise. Now some of this does vary a little bit. I can switch, to kill Uber Diablo. I found that these items are good switches. So melee resistance seems to trump just the DFE after a certain point. And just going for high damage seems like a good idea too, because you don't need really as much resistance when you're fighting them. You do need some, but you don't need really all that much. On the swap, just kind of got lazy here. Could have sifted for items, but honestly, it's pretty hard to beat this. I mean, even though I'm using two of the same item, it's really hard to beat just standard good damage. And if I do want to cast spells, I know it is a big spell penalty, but I just swapped my swords. So, no big deal. First time playing full screen in a while, so be a little rusty. Is he stuck? Can't really see his shadow moving. Kind of just wanted to fight him. He runs pretty quick, so he should catch me. Just have to... Oh, he's locked right in there. Wow, what a hassle. There we go. So, I actually got something for my class. I'm pretty surprised by that. They actually take lightning damage? Oh, that's so much easier. I guess I should try and kill one of them, just so you can see the spell accuracy at play here. So I am missing some of the shots, and it's not doing a tremendous amount of damage. Without Mana Leech, it is kind of a hassle if you're going to try and fight melee minions with it. Now in single player, this is no issue at all. Well, I shouldn't say it's no issue, but it's quite a bit easier because everything has half the health. And I know that I'm the only player in this game. So this isn't really going to be, all the damage resistance and everything that comes with multiplayer, but at least the HP and the aggressiveness is here, so... Maybe I should go down to 23. I don't know. On one hand, you want to get a big, sample size, because if you get like a lot of range on one level, it can totally make the character look a lot different. So it's like, But I also want it to kind of be in one video, so it's not too hard. And you could obviously increase your range damage game a lot by just adding a 1 affix, getting faster casting, or fastest casting eventually. It's really all up to you. If I was playing multiplayer though, I would probably elect to just have my friends deal with ranged enemies. Or I probably wouldn't play this character, honestly. I'd probably play a mage, but, you know. In multiplayer, there's a lot of hidden kind of mechanics that make certain enemies very difficult to handle. So one of the penalties, or one of the difficult things, is for an extreme amount of resistance on... actually, he's the last one. I guess I could just wait at the doorway. So yeah, a huge amount of resistance is just put on some enemies that make them ridiculous to try and kill. It's so annoying. So as someone who's not even meant to be a mage, I could just see it being a nightmare trying to kill like a, I don't know, a Thresher with Arcane Star, or I wonder if I could dive bomb this guy. Oh, I don't have the mana. That's a shame. I find my maces do fine against demons. They're really actually not as bad, even though I consider my damage in my swords to be a whole lot higher. And I think that's honestly one of the biggest issues right now. It's just so much damage, and there's so many more stats in play that it becomes very easy to just kind of like, you know, get away with anything because you have so many stats to make up the penalties. And besides that, I'd say probably 40%. It's that 1 affix that just makes it so insane. The 40% damage to undead or demons, or I don't think one exists for beasts, but if it did, beasts would just be such a joke. Like, I can't imagine trying to go for the beast perk on this guy. If I had done it, like, beasts wouldn't... They don't have a lot of HP to begin with, but it's just, it'd be a joke. So, it's not terribly long, I guess, to do this. To go all the way through. It is nice to just hit the bosses, though. Not really... Probably hit the hardest one on this level. Being the archer boss. I'm still kind of stuck in single player mode trying to save after everything. Okay, that'll be difficult to fight. Make a little pseudo wall here. It won't last long, but makes them come out one at a time, which is handy. And people usually do the standard method, which is to stand in the corner and have 3 enemies whack at you. So it's not typically a good idea to do that on this character. I think my HP pool is fine, but for the sake of testing and what you can expect if you do get, you know, put in the corner like that, you might want to see it. So I'll try to remember to do that. But yeah, typically it'd be better to just back away, especially if you're, you know, not at this geared point yet. Actually, I think only 2 of them are going to get me there. Okay, we'll go to a different corner. Oh shoot, there's... Alright, I guess this is fine too. So even with just 2% Life's Leech, it seems like it's fairly good. The damage is quite high, and the crits are pretty insane. And I mean, there's a lot of damage options that I didn't really explore. With the Goreblink armor, you can just get 200 base damage. And that's not even with, like, you know, top tier weapons. Like, there's a lot of room to grow on the weapons, and it still does an insane amount of damage. I think I tabbed it out to be 2,600 damage average per swing if you went that way. Now, usually you have to give a little bit of your resist or something. I think for me, I actually had it okay All I'd sub out though is my helm. I'll do it after this fight actually, so you can get a nice comparison, because a lot of people tend to like the high damage routes, whether it's for mage or whatever. They always go for like the 56 spell level mage. They don't really, this is actually a whole lot easier than I thought it'd be. Okay, these guys probably be a different story. They hit a lot harder. And with the boss, it should be some trouble. It seems like it's not much of an issue unless it's the boss, because the boss has less chance to be hit, or has a higher accuracy to hit you. I forget. Might be a bit of both.
I have no room.
Probably doing a little excessive on the potions here. I just want to be ready for Uber Diablo. So if we went with Lawbringer instead, we'd have about the same resistance here. But under Fury, we'd have the same crit damage. Still good armor. That's I think that's near the max you should have, roughly 338 or something like that. The only gripe is then you're down at like 50 DFE, so you might want to substitute, these gloves for like the resistance and just kind of take the resistance hit. It's up to you. Actually, now that I'm in multiplayer, maybe I should try that. I'll give it a shot, why not? Because in single player, a lot of your crit damage sort of gets wasted. There's like, as you can see, 7.2k, but not many enemies just have 7.2k HP. It's kind of ridiculous and overboard. But here, the enemies actually have like, 12, 20k health. Doesn't look like I'm going to be able to get rid of them. Maybe I can summon a golem on him. Actually, it's not bad. My resists are pretty garbage right now. I should probably use Fury. Maybe I'll do that. But with this build, you don't have Mana Steel, so depending on who you're fighting, it can be really annoying. Range damage is obviously the most annoying to deal with, but I find that usually you can teleport beside an enemy and get a good chunk of it. I haven't done it for multiplayer, but at least in single player, it's not too bad. Could use Goreblink, but it's hard to give up those stats for Mana Steel. I'll just go on without it. One shot. A little bit of a glitch there. Hard to see in here. It seems to be doing a lot better here than it was in single player. Crit damage is actually going off and landing on key times. In a way, it's sort of a waste because I don't think you can heal as much because I only have 2% lifesteal. But having high damage like this, I don't really think that in the Hell 1 you could have this type of damage, at least while being as tanky as this character can be. I mean, it's not crazy good like DFE, but as you can tell, like this is Crypt, and I'm still just kind of walking into groups of 3 without much of an issue, so. Probably best to not warp over the wall. But the other purpose, even though it's kind of meant for, you know, at the beginning, newer players, it can also be used as a comparison to what your characters are like deeper in Doom. So you might, I don't know, be playing another melee class. I don't want to say this is a good comparison for mage classes because a long time ago when I played Elementalist, before it had crit chance, I already thought it was insanely powerful. And I'm sure it's only gotten more ridiculous as uniques have been added to kind of substitute the lack of spell levels that I had at the time. Well, I guess I'll just go back and repair then. Looks like everything needs a good cleanup.
Greetings!
But yeah, if you're playing, say, like a gladiator or something, you're like, okay, well, how's the damage, like, line up? You can just look at this video, and it's like, okay, well, this is a pretty good view of what the assassin, well, not the assassin, the rogue damage it can be. And also, I know that, like, there's a lot to be done before the game is, you know, officially out of the beta or whatever it's in, before version 1.0, in which case, that's when balancing and stuff comes into play. But if nothing else, you get a rough view of, you know, the class. Someone can take a look at this video and be like, hey, you know what, my assassin is just, like, way better than this. You really need to, like, the rogue should be buffed or whatever. Or, you know, you might be playing something else and say, you know what, this class is just, like, nowhere near what your class is. Like, what's the deal here? We need to nerf rogue. So it's like, you know, I honestly am aiming more for the nerfs. I think that a lot of stuff is just a little too strong. From what I've seen with, like, the mages I've played, someone made an assassin, was able to do, like, Uber Diablo. Pretty much what I'm doing. He's going right to Uber Diablo, and I don't even know if he used potions on him or not. But I remember him saying it was, like, very, very easy. So it's like, you know, I know it's too, like, you can't have another difficulty in this game. It's just not possible to code things. You can't make the damage any higher than 252, and there's already, like, enemies that do double attacks and triple attacks and all that stuff. So it's like things are already balanced for the Hell 1. It's just a matter of, like, are there small tweaks in here that might make the game a little bit more reasonable so that people who play multiplayer online for a long, long time can be like, you know what, let's just go do some crypt or hive runs, and, you know, depending on the roles and the level, like what enemies you get, it could be difficult. I think honestly it's the species damage. 40% damage to total undead. That just makes undead a little too easy. And like I said, with beasts, like, I already feel like the beast damage. So it's like I have, you know, 40% to beast and 40% to undead. And I don't think they should be able to stack. So if you have it from your blades and your like blunts, I don't think that you should be able to get it again. Now, like, obviously I'm not just like one-shotting undeads because it's multiplayer, but at the same time it's like peeling through quite easily. And it's, I don't know. Oh, whoops, I forgot there's like an Uber here. Man, I hate this guy. I'm an idiot. I don't know what I'm doing. I guess I'm gonna have to time it out. Mississippi to Mississippi. From Mississippi to Mississippi. There we go. And my resists are pretty low, so I don't want to be doing that. Gotta get my golem to go further.
Now where would I put
Yeah,
this?
I guess it's hard for me to draw comparisons because I haven't really, used this character in the Hell 1 to do Ubers. I've seen people with really good assassins do like Uber Abaddon, and that's kind of like an Uber boss that usually the Paladin can't do or the Monk can't do because they don't have high enough damage. So, I mean, I guess I could go there and try Abaddon, but maybe I'll do it after Uber Diablo. Oh, another huge flail. Man, when I was playing multiplayer at the start, it was like, it took me till the caves before I found anything that my gladiator could actually use. Actually, I don't know why I'm picking up items. Before I made this video, I wanted to update to the newest version so that, things are just nice and easy to relate to. But it's, it morphed about, I think half, like, my rings, all of my rings got morphed in, like, my belt or something. So it's like, alright, well, it took a really long time to find this stuff, and I'm running out of time before version 1.0 hits, and I probably can this character anyway. But so yeah, I can't really update it to the newest version, but would if I could. And it's all the main features are here. One of the main things that isn't in this version that would be in a newer version is like swapping items on the go. Now in multiplayer this got taken out because obviously if your buddy comes along and you just go down the portal and he just like typical mage players, me, I am guilty too of this. Just going down and like aggroing everything and you not being able to swap stuff. It can be kind of annoying, especially because there are many Koreans and stuff that play the game, like people from all nationalities. It's very difficult. Maybe a lightning. Very difficult to see. Maybe I should use Town Portal as a light.
Not enough mana.
Oh, they take fire damage. Oh, my bad. So these are probably the hardest enemies to really combat because special bosses have this AI where they always run away from you, but they still have a lot of the HP that, you know, typical mid-sized enemies have, like Frostwings and whatever. How to go about this? They're not gonna fall for it. Alright. I guess I could just use Hydra. I forgot to take fire damage. I really thought it was lightning in the Hell one, but I guess I could be wrong. Some resistances got changed up for the sake of Bombardier, so I guess it's normal, but...
Not enough mana.
So yeah, as you can see, our range game is quite weak, and I mean, depending on if you play single player or multiplayer, it can be compounded, but I don't know. If you want to compare like another dual wielder to that, you could look at the Demetrius. He has weaker bows, but I mean, at the same time, it has accuracy just like spells, but he doesn't need to invest. I would argue he has to invest in the accuracy perks. Or if he doesn't, he has to waste a lot of his damage from his weapon, you know, on Emperors or something that substitutes chance to hit. So in a way, it's kind of like Executioner. Like all Executioners should probably go for Eagle Eye, unless there's like some crazy unique out there that adds, you know, just the right amount of chance to hit, which there probably is, but I mean, you never know, right? Until like a causal list comes out, you just can't be sure. So, better safe than sorry. This one, it's just kind of a shame because the accuracy doesn't help in any way, well, the spell accuracy, that is, on your melee game. Whereas the accuracy from the Eagle Eye perk works with the Demetrius, both in melee and with his ranged weapons, so, you know, you could argue one way or the other, but I don't really know what I think. It's like... the spell levels aren't bad on this character. Like, the damage is actually not terrible. Hydra makes it really, you know, good for fire. But as you go into the crypt, not many enemies actually take fire damage. Oh, one sec. Also, the Demetrius has 2% less to crit, so my base chance is 26% with those perks. If he were to take those same perks, he would end up at 24%. So you could multiply that as him doing, you know, right off the bat, 1/50th less damage, or I don't know how you would work that. 0.02 times whatever your crit damage is. So. Another thing is that you have to, there's got to be some way that you're pulling HP in from your build. So for me, I had to do a lot of like plus HP gear in some form or another. Just so that you can get that comfortable amount. And in my opinion, that's about 650 before, you know, you're not really getting unlucky with like the enemies that hit you. Now here we could use Firewall, but we'll try and get a system here. Can I kill a boss while being in a corner? Because if you can do that, you can pretty much handle anything. These were demons, so I think that's fair. If they were beasts, I wouldn't say it's very fair, because the beast damage on this character is really, really insane. Claws. There are some items that stick out to me because, well, I don't know. I don't even know if I'd ever play an assassin, but if I did, you know, you always want like the high flat crit damage. That seems to be the consensus from the assassin players. It seems to outshadow everything else. So if you basically have that one, I think it's like a Q level 60 affix of like plus 1,000. It's basically what Lawbringer's second effect is. Just that's the suffix of the item. If you have that on an assassin, your power jumps way up to like, I'd say godlike, but you know, people argued because they made an assassin, started out being like ridiculous, like doing 2,500 damage on average without any elemental damage, and then, you know, getting changed around, formula modified, and, you know, one thing led to another, and it's like, you know, mixed feelings. It's hard when you build something, and then when you have it nerfed, and then to have like, you know, the right opinion, not the right opinion, but like, you know, the same opinion later on, because you have this, I don't know, for me it takes about a week or two. Like when Nova's got nerfed with the mage, it's like just your power level is so far down, went from like #1 class to the last place class in the Hell one. So everyone just quit the mage in that time. Me, I found that it just took me a while to kind of get over that amount of like damage loss. Like you eventually become accustomed to it. It's just it takes a period of time. So, what enemies do we have here? I really don't want to fight another spitter boss, but I would like to fight these grim demons. If I could find that boss, I think we'd be doing okay. There we go. So a little bit tankier than the Devilkin. I'm not sure about how they hit in comparison, but just another test of the melee. But yeah, when I think to balancing, it's like I know like it's too early, like things can still be done, but even if like, if I put myself in Mordor's shoes and it's like, you know, what would I do? And it's like, I don't really even know what the options are. It's like, you could readjust all 700 of those uniques that you made, but it's like, do you really want to go back and adjust 700 uniques when you just made them? Like, then you get people complaining, oh, you took away all the power, you nerfed all the uniques to shit and all that. It's like, you know, you can't really win with that. But I honestly don't think that you need to go back and do all that. I think that just small things. Like for me, when I saw the change to triple shot, like on Scout and Archer, I thought that was a good idea. You know, a lot of people like obviously miss it for faceplate helm. for Iron Man and stuff because, you know, as the class isn't tanky, it really does need as much damage. Oh, wow, that's a lot of damage. As much damage as it can get. And without that, the side damage, and basically, if you haven't heard of that update or that nerf, triple shot used to do just 3 arrows as much damage as you have times 3, right? 3 arrows, triple the damage. But now it's been reduced, so I think it only does 75% of the damage to side arrows. And then if you're a sharpshooter, it only does 25% on the side arrows. Now, first you're just like, okay, but that's just a massive cut to damage. What warrants that? But on the other hand, it's like, damage is insane on those classes. You know, with all the new perks and all the new, like, item slots that you can have. And it's not like the damage on weapons. Like, I guess it has changed a little bit, but like, from what I remember, this was like 33 to 101 damage in the Hell one. It's like that got changed, but as you can see, I'm still almost hitting the damage cap a lot of the times here. And I don't even have like a crazy, I guess I do have a crazy damage build now, but, you know, if I didn't have Lawbringer on, say if I just put on the Silent Moon, you know, more defensive build. But now it's less about, oh, there's another boss here. Oh, I didn't know that happened until level 24. But yeah, so now it's less about, okay, how can I get triple shot in my build because my build is garbage until I have triple shot, and more about, okay, if I'm not going to run triple shot, that's still a huge loss of damage, but can I justify it with some crazy crit damage or crazy, you know, something other, more tankiness, whatever it might be, so that characters don't have to have this one affix to be that character. I feel like Assassin kind of has that right now because, like I said, if they have that one crit suffix, they just destroy. But if not, then, oh, nice, unique. Then they're just, I don't know. People say they're garbage, but like they obviously still kill Uber Diablo in single player. So I mean, if you're killing Uber Diablo, I feel like you're not actually that terrible. But I mean, oh, Baronera's Maul. Would you look at, holy shit, look at that. What is that damage? Actually, when I look at that, it's only, because adds like 400 points of damage would be like the max doom roll you could get on a two-handed weapon. I thought this was a one-handed weapon though. Or maybe it is a one-handed weapon. What is that? Baronera's, I think it was like a light maul or something. Warrior and Templar. Yeah, Templar's got to be one-handed, right? So, okay. It's not terrible then. And the base damage, like if you took that base damage and you compare it to mine, it's like some pretty good base damage. But it's pretty much the exact same as in the Hell one. Not the exact same, but a lot of the themes follow. So same thing with Nightscape. It's basically the same stats, but a little modern twist to it. Same thing with this. The negative magic resist and the negative strength all follow. Fast attack. But yeah, I'm glad I found that. And the good thing about finding uniques, even though like my blue items morph with the new patches, uniques are kind of like this insurance on your character fading. If you have a lot of uniques, they usually don't change. Or if they do, you just get another unique in exchange. So it's like, you know, some of them may be bad, right? Like, you know, Faceplate is a mage unique, and I think it is pretty shit. I mean, I don't think it should not be an item, but I mean, if like I had, I don't know, the Joker's helmet it changed into something like that, I'd be a little upsetty spaghetti. But at least you have something that's, you know, arguably 2 stat points. Even if it's 2 affixes that you're not really looking for, it is 2 affixes. So where a blue item, you could just get 2 affixes that are just absolute trash, and they don't jive together, or they're just bad rolls of each stat. It's pretty much like a fresh new item, so yeah. And speaking of new patches, the last 2 characters that I made I'd always thought to myself, okay, just don't be an idiot. Just wait. If you just wait for the patch, you won't lose anything because, you know, supposedly there could be a wipe to fix multiplayer. It may happen, it may not happen. I just consider it like a 50-50 roll. So part of me just hates the thought of losing. But on the other hand, I had 2 tests that I wanted to do. My friend made a Demetrius, and we wanted to test Savage damage in comparison. It ended up not really going through, but nonetheless, it was a class that I obviously wasn't going to play fully to the end, but just to get a kind of feel for what the new gladiators are, it was kind of cool. I think it was like doing 900 to 1300 damage at level 50. I went with XP perks and stuff, so like I'm the educated, so obviously like my character wasn't that good, and he wasn't even max level yet, but when I just looked at the damage, it was very easy to tell what my damage would be late game. He had 0% chance to crit, so on one hand that's kind of a bad thing, but on the other hand, you know, you're not hitting the cap, which is 12,200, I think 12,800 damage or something. Something like that is the damage cap. So, and on bosses it's usually a little lower so that you don't just wreck the fun of killing bosses. But, so yeah, you have less chance to hit that with no crit chance. And if I was doing 900 to 1300 damage, and the only thing I had was 300% damage on the 3rd highest maul, then I would imagine that my damage would be at least... I wonder if I need a golem here or not. Maybe I do. Yeah, it doesn't really look like it's helping a whole lot. Oh, they knocked back. So I'm starting to feel my chance to hit slip here. These guys seem a lot harder. And that is kind of one of the gripes. I never did find, like, you know, there's always those dream items that you're like, okay, if I had this item, it could open up a lot of doorways. And for me, I just need about 15% chance, 10% more chance to hit, and I feel like I would hit that sweet spot. So if I had, say, like a piece of jewelry with 1% mana steal, 16 plus to dex, 16 plus to magic, help my magic chance to hit, and maybe like resist all 10%, that would be like an absolute perfect fit. But I mean, like, you know, that's beyond rare, no pun intended, it's just insane. I am glad though I stayed around for the uniques. Part of me was thinking that like if I make a video of like a rogue, and I wasn't sure. I was under the impression that this class is overpowered, but I mean, you know, maybe if Mordor watches it and he's like, you know what, he's not actually that good. That's just what you'd expect with decent gear. Then nothing will happen. But I didn't want the focus to be about, okay, well, he's using some uniques, and the character's OP, so how do we fix that? Let's just nerf the uniques, because I don't really think that, like, a lot of them are outstatted. I think, like, yeah, there's that boss. Guess I could be lazy. Lazy mode.
Not enough mana.
Oh, that's a lot of damage. What's my acid resist at? 55%. Yeah, that's pretty bad. I guess one of the other things too, if you're considering between Rogue and a Demetrius, is that Demetrius is probably going to be a lot easier as you level. The stat points are kind of horrendous to try and get on a Rogue, or the Demetrius can kind of just focus on, you know, the 3 stats, which makes mushroom farming, you know, not as good. Oh, they actually run towards you. I didn't even need this firewall. Huh.
Greetings!
Good day. How may I serve you?
Guess I'll just put that there for now so I don't forget about it. I'm usually pretty lazy. If I knew there wasn't going to be a wipe, then I would clean everything up nice, but for now I've just kind of put things aside. And I guess I should give you a chance to look at these in case you're wondering, like, okay, what are the uniques that I could look forward to? It has a set item, so... Which I don't really... First off, the set items are going to be a crazy amount of work, but on top of that, like, negative 70 DFE on top of all the other effects is... That's pretty... I don't want to say the word, but that's pretty OP. So... In the Hell 1, there was usually like a bomb stat in there, so like the monk had like 2% mana steal on like I think one of the rings I found, so I was like, okay, well, you know, a monk's probably not going to find that like 1A fix, so you can kind of get away from it. But here it's like, yeah, I was actually using that Renegade's guys for a while there. A lot of the armors are actually really good that way. Just kind of swap them on, and it's like, oh, this has 22 DFE on it, so it's good. Good enough to toss in a build. The helms were a little hit and miss. Crown of the Deathless Kings, I found, was okay. It was just kind of... It seems hard to get resist all on this character. I just didn't have good rolls, like, you know, 13%. I was expecting to get a lot more 18%, but it's actually quite hard. Alright, we're kind of boxed in here, so hopefully there's not a lot of ranged threats here. Oh, hiddens. Lightning damage. I could use a lightning wall here to kind of keep the load off, but again, I want to see what dungeon level 24 enemies are like if I'm in the standard corner. Can't get a better position sometimes, it's just you have to go into a corner, so... Seems like it's actually not an issue. In the Hell one, I found a huge benefit from armor class. But, I mean, in this one it seems like it's more just for bosses. I do notice when it dips below 300 AC. But... Gothic Axe. And Uber Diablo's right there. Cool. Oh. I do like to establish a perimeter around him when I go for it. This character is actually pretty good for Uber Diablo. It's not like a scout or a mage where you have to kind of pull out things nice and slow or set up the lightning wall. You really just use lightning and grab all those warpers on you at once. They don't seem to hurt very much. Another thing I kind of found that was surprising. The amount of AC I have, I found very difficult to get. Like, not too many people can expect to get plus 22% armor on a piece of gear, unless they have like a unique like me. Like, there's no way I would roll like a sturdy plate. It's a cursed affix, and it's just, you know, you can't bank on that. Or if you did find it, it probably wouldn't have a good suffix, or it wouldn't be on the right base, you know, all those things. But yeah, without that, I find it's very difficult to roll armor class. And I went with the Dodger perk, so I have plus 40 armor class. So in a way, I think that's, you know, partly my fault, because, you know, my base items are not max. This could be like these 6 more armor class. This could give me, I think, 7 more armor class. That's about max. This could be a little higher. It could be like, I think, 40 AC max. But really not like, you know, not like the Hell one, where if you found like a sturdy plate, you had basically 350 armor. Oh, wow. Yeah, if you had a sturdy plate, I think you had over 350 AC, and that one item just carried you through the whole game.
Hello, good friend.
Is anything gonna break? Probably not. But yeah, on one hand, you kind of figured that AC would be easier to come by, as you have more items to kind of give you the AC, but just because like plus 20 armor class, imperviousness I think is the affix name, it's a suffix, so it's like anytime there's a suffix, you'd probably want, you know, damage from enemies or orbs, actually. We'll be maining a mage or an elementalist, so I should pick those up. But yeah, you'd probably want something like this, like, you know, -5 damage from enemies, or on this character, I need 2 stats worth of HP percentage. So like plus 50% HP percentage is probably good to get me where I want to be. So that's 2 suffixes that you're kind of locked out of. Rune, most people that like Rune and Fast Attack. I'd say Fast Attack more so, but next in line would be Rune. So, you know, without that, you don't really have a whole lot of suffixes left to juggle around. That's why I think that armor class really would get pushed to the back burner. And a lot of people do find that, like, melee damage resistance is a lot better than just going for more AC. Honestly, I like armor class. It just maybe it's just the hell one in me, the spirit of it, just getting high AC, and I don't know. I never really did like gladiators too much, so that might just be part of the personal preference. Oh, horn deaths. That's a good thing to have because two shot. Wow. Because yeah, I wanted to fight beasts because I want to show how easy they are and just how much damage that like this character could potentially have. And I think it's a little insane and it should probably be cut. I think that the 40% you get from like swords is ample. That you shouldn't be able to stack it twice. I'm sure people have some unique items made that would kind of like, you know, hamper, but at the same time, if you were to rebalance all the uniques, it's like, you know, 700 uniques first off. Snap. So much damage. But yeah, redoing 700 uniques, you'd probably end up doing the same thing anyway. So either that or just value it. Like, valuing it more than one Aphix seems handy. Like, I know that this is balanced at roughly, you know, 2 Aphixes, but man, it seems like it's so much stronger. Like 40% damage to a species is just like, especially on weapon swap where you can actually do that. I guess it's different because like on weapons and armor and stuff, you don't really. I should get out of this. But yeah, you can just swap onto your mace or your sword or whatever and just kind of like swap out in an instant and basically kind of be done. So I feel like you already have one of your weapons malices taken out, especially for me because, you know, spell levels isn't really an issue if I can just swap to my sword and use something else. I know like all of my range damage comes from spell levels, so it is valuable. I won't say like, you know, you can just tank your spell levels, but I feel like you could roll around with like 12 spell levels and still be, you know, sufficient. Like you'd still be just about as effective. You're not going to be great, but you never were great at range damage anyway on a rogue. But even more so because ooh, that's nice. Reinforced armor too. Because there's, I think you can get up to 450% damage to a particular species. So I mean, theoretically you could have like 2 swords with 450% damage to, I don't think it does beasts actually, I shouldn't say that. So like, but for undead and for demons you could do it for. The only thing is that demons don't have a base to really go with. Like whether you use swords or clubs, it doesn't matter for demons. So they're kind of like, it's kind of controlled in a sense that way, but with like undead you can stack, you know, hammers, there's 50% bonus, and then on top of that you can get 40% more damage to undead from weapons. And then imagine you're a class like this, or, you know, say I forget who has undead damage, I think it might be Templar or something. It's like, you know, one of those classes with 40% more damage, it's like, that's a lot of damage. So that boss was actually quite a bit more difficult than the other ones I've faced. If I had actually stayed in that corner, I would have had to use potions, so I think I used 1 potion anyway just to escape. Alright, this will be good to test. Make sure 3 of them get around me. Oh, there's 4. Not bad. Really not making bad time here. I wasted a... Oh, the boss is over the wall. Spent probably the first 15 minutes just doing Pinky, so... Not bad at all. Just a standard hammer. So could have warped a lot earlier there, but I did want to see, can I survive under a heavy pelt like that? It looks like it's not too bad. Now usually, I don't have Fury on. Usually you'd go for the boss first if you have the damage, so that you don't take all the extra damage and the chance to hit and all that. But have a lot of health potions extra, and we're pretty close to the end here, so we might as well try to be a little adventurous. And I don't know if their AI is set to not fire at me if I have a golem up. Some, like Bone Wings, will just fire right past your golem. They won't aim at him. So it may be a futile effort, but they do take lightning damage, so why not try to make some use of it. Actually, if I'm 1v1, I probably shouldn't have to worry, even if they are spraying lightning at me. Lightning resist is a little bit higher because the dexterity on this class is high. Alright, don't need a wall anymore. Ubers. I will say it is nice to play a class that's not super reliant on Fury during fights. I know that a lot of Gladiator players seem to always try and get Fury off, even if they have to waste like 3 potions to do it. This guy, it doesn't seem like it's a huge deal. Like, I do get a lot of damage. Well, I shouldn't say a ton, but a little bit of damage and some resistance, but unless it's like a 1v1 fight where I want the AC bad, it's, I don't know. Doesn't seem like it's the end of the world. Alright, now how's my gear doing? Probably best to repair it.
Greetings!
Okay, so like I said, I do have gear that's specifically for Ubers, and I actually just ended up trying this build, and it seems like it's doing fairly well on its own. But yeah, the Lawbringer and the extra melee resist seems like it's handy. And this is just so I can hit the crit chance a little bit more. Seems that the crits are really where it's at, even though Diablo I think has some kind of cap set in, so it doesn't take a crazy amount. But actually swap out this sword and then I am good to go. Oh yeah, they're hiddens here. I forgot. Single player, they're the black ones that just come out with lightning streams. I don't know if pulling out the boss would pull out Uber Diablo. I know one of them takes fire damage, and the other one takes lightning damage. Maybe the resist got changed. Well, I guess that's fine. I could have swore there was a boss though. I don't know if I have a town portal up. Be a shame if I died, so I should probably get that up. Probably sooner than later, actually. Now, in single player, this was a lot easier because, first off, half the health, but I guess that's pretty much it. The damage seems about the same. I feel like my melee resist is lower. Maybe it just does more damage in multiplayer. Because yeah, I definitely don't use this many potions. In normal mode, it's actually crazy. I use, I think, like 3 health potions to kill him. So yeah, it's really not that bad. Whoops. Yeah, I can't really tell what it is. I haven't looked like, you know, super in depth about what happens when I fight him, but in single player I'm pretty sure I do like 3,500 damage with my crits, but here it seems like I'm doing a lot less damage.
Greetings!
Which isn't necessarily a bad thing. He should be like the be-all end-all in multiplayer, but I guess I'm just surprised because an assassin player
How may I serve?
was able to do it like pretty much no issue. I don't even know if he used potions. I know it's like a couple patches ago, but assassins really just got shafted from there. Rightly so, I think, but I mean, nonetheless, it is just surprising that
Good day.
he wouldn't have any issues, and I assume this character is fairly similar. The crit chance is actually almost about the same. He had, I think, 42% chance. I guess if I wanted, I could use a belt that has, like,
How may I serve you?
melee resist. DFE? No, it needs to have HP with it. Definitely needs HP. Yeah, well, I guess you just get what you get. Yeah, 2,200 crits instead.
I have no room. Now where would I put this? Now where would I put this?
Alright, next I'd like to try a baton. Seems like it'd be a good test for the damage. I think my damage is, sufficient now. It was in the Hell 1, so I really can't imagine why it wouldn't be in this one. But, or I guess Dragbez wouldn't be terrible either. Baton is level 12. And there we go, level 12. I guess I'll just leave this on. I won't get the bonus damage to, oh, there they are. Bonus damage to beasts, but at least I'll have lots of damage to demons. Oh yeah, Baton has some crazy life leech. It looks like mana leech too. But even so, not even one potion. Yeah. Okay. That's just a blue weapon. That's not even a unique, really. Well, I guess we'll do Dragbez. He always destroys me on my mage, so assume he'll be somewhat annoying. Also, his minions block, so I won't have as much chance to steal life.
This place is eerie.
Guess I don't have mana leech. Oh well. See if we can just go in there. Yeah, that's dumb. Like, I know Uber Diablo is kind of set so that that doesn't happen, but with the amount of like stuff that we have to boost our damage, and honestly, like Lawbringer is one of those things, but it's not really just Lawbringer. If you just thought about the amount of damage that I could have, like this could be 400 damage, 400% damage to demons, and like, you know, plus 200 damage flat, or plus 250 damage to demons. I think it goes up to. So it's like with that type of damage, it gets out of control. Then you have like perks and stuff on top of that with bonus damage to. Nah, that's ridiculous. I'll try Uber Butcher though. I think it's best if I take off this helm though. One, so I can get some mana leech, and two, because I don't want it to just be like, okay, well, if we nerf that one unique, it'll fix the class. Because I honestly don't think it will. I think it's just, you know, a lot. And there it is. So here his minions are gonna be invisible, so probably won't exactly know when it's coming, but good thing is though, like, I won't do it in this fight just because I want to see how tanky the class can be, but you can stone curse them, you can block them with lightning wall, so I mean there's lots of things you can do to kind of, you know, better your odds against this like one particular boss. I guess I wouldn't want to deal with rangers. Trying to do this because the Butcher doesn't have a room with him. He just kind of like floats around, so I don't want any of the easier enemies just kind of get tossed in there. It kind of makes the life leech go crazy because you hit something for like basically its full HP. Alright, is this him? Nope, nope. I'm using the demon mace. That's kind of a bad idea. Anaconda skin belt. Oh, that's cool. I guess it makes sense that it would be on a Beastmaster. I always thought those movies were just like a big joke, but I guess there are anacondas that are like, maybe not 100 feet long, but they're something crazy, like I think 20 meters or 20 feet or something. Is this another, what? Let's see if we can just outrun that guy. Alright, that's probably him. Okay, yeah. He's probably gonna lose some health here just cheesing away at the ranged enemies, but that's okay. Maybe it's not okay. Maybe I'm just gonna get pulverized. Actually, that's not okay. That's really annoying. Hopefully the ranged enemies will come. I think 15 or 20 of them spawn with them, so as long as I leave 2 left. Here we go. I pansied out. I might have been able to get that, but I don't know. That was one potion. I'll say that was one potion. Oh, this is a. Oh, it's an assassin. Okay. Huh. Oh wow. I didn't know there could be damage from. You could do that DFE from beasts. That's pretty cool. I mean, they're kind of. I don't want to say they're pointless, but they're kind of needless. Usually, beasts are the easiest enemies in the game, so you don't have to worry too much about them. Well, we're going. I might as well do the last one. That Rhino on level 8. Centaurius or something. But yeah, that wasn't with a crazy OP helm. That was just standard. I did have to use one potion though, so I mean, that's kind of better than Dragbez fared. I don't know. I don't know.
It's hot down here.
There we go. so I'll just go around and look for him.
Not enough mana.
There he is, okay. Just to avoid the archers or having to worry about golem and all that, I would like to just have a long hallway. He should charge after me, and that should put a lot of distance between me and his minions. Shino Bigetana, right? Huh. The other option, I guess, is a doorway. Could just be a normal person, use a doorway. Alright, this is probably good enough. Yeah, well. Just thinking, I'll start here. If the archers do pour out into the hallway and kind of mess with the fight, then I'll warp over to the other side. Alright, there we go. Oh, I didn't really think this would work so well. Not well enough, I guess.
What ails you, my friend? Greetings! Greetings!
Guess it never hurts to repair. But yeah, I don't think it'll be too much of an issue. I don't really know how they change these Uber bosses between each other. I always kind of assumed that they were sort of set to be hard against certain classes, but I thought it was mostly in the attack, like the behavior of the AI, not really so much, you know, the stats of the actual monster. Despite not having any bonus, I guess I do have some arrow resist, just for being an assassin, but it's actually pretty good. Like 28 damage from like Uber minions is really not that bad. Alright, there we go. Still not gonna be enough. could teleport and probably land a clean shot here, but I do want to keep my mana. Oh, nice. Full plate boots. There we go. Alright. 1v1. I guess I could wait for him to regenerate. Alright. Yeah, no potions there, so honestly, yeah, I just think this... There's so many classes that probably need to be nerfed, so it's not like, you know, nerfing this one is gonna fix the issue, but I think, like, one major step is to take away 40% damage to species if you're a character, like, that can get it already with, like, you know, your weapon types. But other than that, I mean, Defiler would kind of be just another version of, like, you know, Uber Diablo. Uber Diablo, I think, is the biggest set apart. But yeah, if you're looking to play a class, these are the stats that seem to be fine for all the Ubers. No real issues there. And gear isn't really outstanding either. Anyway, I'll catch you guys next time. Probably when version 1.00 comes out.